What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, and this is the home of Epic Conversations. I also was the 2018 award winner in the innovation category given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And just starting last week, I am hosting monthly conversations for fathers that are co-sponsored by Dad Central and also Dove Men Care. And we always like to have new friends on the Dr. Vibe Show. So we have another new friend, and she's going to be one of the performers at the Epic online event that's happening this Sunday at 5:30 p.m. What is it called? It's called April Fool's Bun and Cheese Edition, Comedy Edition online. And we have another one of the performers going to be there that afternoon, and I'm hosting it, so I'm looking forward, but I'm getting a chance to have the appetizer, getting to meet her before the main course on Sunday. Her name is Shakkoi Hibbert. She's an all-around creator. Oh, she laughs, so I must be a comedian once in a while too. If I had made a comedian laugh, I feel good. That makes me feel good. Shakkoi Hibbert is an all-around creative entrepreneur. She has spent years connecting with the community through the dance group C-Flava. Now as a self-published, Shakkoi continues to captivate individuals with her truth and grace, filled with experiences to share. There's no question that everyone needs some koi in their life. Well, I'm going to get my dose of koi on Good Friday. Koi and fish. Koi and fish. Koi, fish, and bun and cheese. That's what I'm getting.
Yes.
I'm getting her to laugh ahead of time, which is an outstanding thing. Well, let's welcome for the first time, but not the last time, hopefully, Shakkoi Hibbert. Miss Hibbert, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm hanging in there, in this crazy time, but just really trying to stay active and positive and yeah.
Wonderful. And
trying to stay away from my screen.
Good. And what have you been up to today?
Today, actually, I hosted an hour workout class with my dance group C-Flava.
What?
Yes.
You don't
on Instagram Live.
You don't play.
No. Gotta keep the ball moving in some way or another. Where there's a will, there's a way. So yeah, I'm a big believer of that.
Excellent. Well, like I always do with new friends that come on the Dr. Vibe Show, can you share a little bit of background about yourself?
Yes. Well, I have a tagline, or I guess my Instagram name is Need Some Koi. And the reason why it is that is because I've had a lot of experiences that allow me to see the light and dark in a lot of situations. So the reasons why anybody can use some koi in their life is because I can see the good and the bad, and I'm very understanding, so I could come together as well. The reason being, I've been through a lot of, we all have stories. We've all been through things in life. But I've really made a point to change my path and really push to my future. My story is very powerful. So that's how I initially started speaking, by sharing my story. I've actually recently published a book titled The Poetic Transition from a Hothead to a Conscious Queen. So it's like I've always been in the area of expressing. Now I'm just really getting to like hone in on certain areas and focus, because I've been doing a lot of dancing because I was just finishing university. I just graduated last year.
Congratulations.
Which I'm so thankful for. Thank you. From the University of Toronto. So now I am just letting my creative entrepreneurship flourish. And I feel like comedy, it's always been something that, like, I feel like it kind of comes natural to me. But now I'm being challenged to actually, like, write about comedy and push. And I'm all about the push. So I'm like, hey, why not?
Okay, well, fantastic. That's great. I want to take a little time of for you to share with our audience the early days. What was life growing up when you were really young? Again, congratulations in regards to University of Toronto. So was education also something that you were passionate about from a young age? And if it was, who instilled that in you?
To be honest, education, it wasn't really like it's kind of like I was just good at school, but it's just like because it was something that I like to do. But it was really my mom that was like, okay, like really push and go to the next level. I honestly thought that school was a scam. Like, still kind of do. But when I was in grade 12, I literally like I dropped all my courses to apply, even though I was doing academic my whole life. And like teachers were begging me to like, please don't, like, Shakkoi, you shouldn't be in this class. Like I literally ended up in my college English class. I left the class with a 99. So it's like I really shouldn't have been in that class. But I just got lazy, to be honest. And at 17, you think you know everything. So I'm like, guidance counselors, like I don't need, you guys don't know my life, like I'm gonna do what I want. And so yeah, in grade 12, I pretty much kind of screwed myself over. That's why I'm so proud to say that I'm a university graduate, because in grade 12, I didn't even have the courses to get me to university. So
wow.
Better late than never.
Looking at those early years, education was challenging. Who kept you going? Because it sounded like you said education was the farthest thing from your mind. What kept you going? Were there people that kept you going?
Yeah, it was definitely my mother. Sorry, I remember when she's a Jamaican woman. I remember when I first told her that after grade 12, because she didn't really know that I dropped my courses. She wasn't like, she just trusted me with my decision. She wasn't really like involved with that. She just knew I would do the right thing, kind of thing. But so after grade 12, when I told her, you know what, Mom, I think I want to take a year off. Then she was like, because I have a few other siblings who they didn't go to school at first. So she just looked at me and she just like, you take me one tree bums and I'm out. And I was like,
okay.
I'm like, all right. So pretty much in order for me to have a place to live, I had to go for something, and she wasn't playing around, and I really wasn't ready to live on my own. So after high school, right away, I went to Durham College for a year. I did dental reception just because, like, honestly, my dentist was always just like a very I was close with my dentist. He was actually my mom knew him from Jamaica. He was a Chinese Jamaican dentist, so he was always very close with the family. So I think that's what was my like drive towards wanting to get into the dental field. But after the a few months of where you go and you co-op, after doing co-op there, I was like, yeah, I can't work in a office.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so education was challenging to a certain point. When was the turn? Was there a moment where you said, you know what, education isn't all that bad? Because something must have happened for you to basically want to kick education to the curb to graduating from the University of Toronto. Something happened. So what was it?
Yes, honestly, I had a life-changing moment when I realized that I was working three jobs.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, I'm like, you know what? Working more jobs isn't gonna make me more money. Like it just reduces my time, and I'm still making like a very similar amount. So I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. And if I've only done college in 1 year, I'm not doing anything that I actually studied. I need to go back to do something that gives me like a broader opportunity. Because with college, it was so direct. Anything I did after that, if it's not dental work, it's just random. So I was working at like Rogers, McDonald's, and Payless at the same time, and I was like, this is not it. So I'm like, you know what? I have to really push to do more for myself, and that is by going to university, to seeing if I can, and just like getting like a challenge. And also, I just got out of a relationship, so I was like, whoa, I have so much time. Let me put my time to good use.
That is interesting. When do you remember? Well, you just graduated. What was your graduation day like for you?
It was honestly, well, technically, I kind of had two graduations. Because UFT, they have their regular one of where they go downtown and everything. Then there's a Black graduation that my school has. They hold it at the Mississauga location. So To be completely honest, the day of the actual graduation, I was like in my bed. But the reason, let me explain. Because at the beginning of June, I went on like right after I finished all my studies. For sure, I was graduating. I went to Jamaica for
Okay.
2 weeks as like a celebration. Like, yes, I did this. Yeah. So I came back on like the Sunday, and the Monday was supposed to be my grad. But at the same time, the Raptors just won the championship. So I was like, I honestly was like, I have such a hard decision to make
Really?
here, but because
Okay. I understand. Keep on going.
yes, and I was like, you know what? Like I could be downtown, and also like I'd have to go extra early because there wasn't in time to buy my gown and all this. And I'm like, you know what? I've already done the work. There's the black crowd. I will just make sure to show out for the black crowd, represent my people. But today, I have to go downtown and be a part of history. So I went downtown and I almost died. So
Yeah.
the day was worth it. You know, we all have decisions to make in life, so I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't. I probably would have made the same decision come again because, like, sometimes I just really like to just jump. You know, just go for the unknown. So that was that day at the Raptors parade. But overall, minus all the scary things and violence and terror that I did feel, I made it through, and it was still historic and a good time. And the convection, the graduation, it seemed, you know, like typical boring kind of standing up. But for the black graduation, I made sure to go on
Nice.
time, deck down, and yep,
What color
the
was the
right
ground?
print and
What color was the
everything.
gown?
The gown, it was like a turquoise dashiki
Okay.
print type
All
of
right.
vibe. Yeah, my sister's actually a fashion designer, so I got her to make it for me. And like I literally made the dean like do the Wakanda when I went up. I was like, take the pictures, y'all. This is gonna be it right here. So I made sure to like stamp my mark and be like, okay, I may have missed the first one, but the second one, they gonna know
All
I was
right.
here.
All right. So congratulations on the graduation. How proud was your mom of you that day?
Oh gosh, honestly, beyond words and literally beyond words. Because and that's why my story is so powerful is because I lost my mom when I was
Oh, my
19.
condolences.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's definitely it's a constant like, you know, overcoming thing. I really learned that grief is not, it doesn't really matter the time. It's really just like, I realize now that grief is love. So it's an okay feeling to feel. But I feel like it was really that happening to me at such a young age that, wait, am I allowed to swear on
No.
this? Okay, just making
All
sure, just
right.
making sure. That was a moment where I was like, forget anything that I'm supposed to do, anything that I know. Like, my life has been like so altered, but I'm going to make the right decisions. Like I'm not going to be a statistic. I'm not going to, and this is a time where I just finished my college program. So it's like, okay, 1 year out and now just dumped into the real world. So, even though she wasn't physically with me on the day of graduation, oh, she was definitely there walking with me because she was my guiding person for education. She always really pushed for us to go to school. And like, she was a single mom of 4 kids. So I
Wow.
don't feel like she really had the time. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I babysit kids and I'm like, oh. So I'm like, to raise 4 children by yourself, like, so my strength really comes from just remembering, how much she did and how much she's always had to go through, and just really the fact that she never showed us any like of the suffering that she had to go through. Like when she passed away because of
Mm,
cancer, and so when she first got sick, she was in the hospital for a bit. So at that time, I started like taking care of the bills and stuff. And when I was seeing how much we were paying for stuff, like even Roger's bill, I wanted to beat myself. I was like, how dare I complain about doing the dishes? So like my whole perspective, like I was 19, but I was not 19
right.
anymore. I really had to, and that's when I was working the 3 jobs, and I'm like, okay, now I really have to pushed to do something that's going to put me farther than my peers, because I'm not going to have the help to that other people commonly have to get that push. I'm not going to have that. So I really had to like dig into myself to find the light to be able to do all that I do. And that's why it's like, I feel like comedy, it's like, I've seen so much tragedy that all I've had is comedy at times. So it's like me and my sister, especially, like we'll be crying, we'll be laughing through it, because it's just like we're just trying to find balance. And that's why I love comedy so much, because you could be so sad and such in a dark place, but like you hear one joke or like someone says something a certain way, and then the fact that it can just bring you up and enlighten you so much. So I feel like even though I never said like, oh, I want to be a comedian, like I feel like it's just in my path because of the way how I naturally operate with the obstacles of life.
Okay, no problem. Well, I'm proud of you that you've made your test your testimony. And also, what qualities of your mother do you carry on today?
Definitely resiliency. Like she was she, like I said, she moved here from Jamaica by herself at a young age, was working a lot of jobs. She actually moved as a single mom, bought a house for her kids. She moved us out of the hood at a young age. So even just seeing how hard she went for us as her kids, like, no, like she's gonna make sure we have this, make sure we have that. Like I never had, I don't have any memories of being hungry growing up. Like my mom was a top chef. People would literally pay her, like times like this, Easter time, she'd be getting paid right now to make food, because people want to make sure that, yes, you know, Sharon's food is like, they want to make sure to have that touch. And honestly, just seeing how she did it in such a like, she was so resilient with so much swag. Like if you saw her, she just always matching, always a good, always so like positive, and the light in the room. And so I feel like just like we were always having barbecues, like we were the party house. Like it's like even though she was getting up 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, you best believe she's going out Friday night or she's going out Thursday night. She's gonna wake up early. Like she just like all about the work and fun balance. So just really seeing that, living that, and like embodying that, and like seeing, and like especially now, realizing what a huge task it is to, because I'm also a homeowner. So that happened at 19 too. A lot of things happened at 19. But she just seeing that she was able to take her kids out of the hood and bring us to a new home. And that like sometimes I've heard of stories where parents get certain money, they do what they want, they go on vacation, they buy whatever. But just to know that she really like took all her money to invest into our future, that really just like reminds me of how valuable I am, and reminds me to be resilient. I'm like, if she could do this with 4 kids and we're getting taken care of well, like good memories. I had an amazing childhood. So I'm like, if she could do that, how can I do this and that? I don't have any kids. So what's my excuse?
Okay. All right. Well, let's find out, how did you enter into the comedy world?
I feel like comedy just I started as a poet.
Okay.
And then some of my poetry just got funny. So
How does poetry
like,
sort of just get funny? There has to be a little it just didn't snap like that. Okay, what's going on there?
So it's like, I guess the way that I would perform, it would just make people laugh. And like, because like sometimes I could be anxious, comedy is like my default. So if I feel uncomfortable, I'll just like say a joke somewhere. So people just like, they're like, oh, you're funny, you know, like you should get into this, you should do this. And especially with my dance group, I got more speaking opportunities there, just like talking beforehand, and just the way that I would engage with the crowd. Like I'd be like I guess like I would just get the vibe of certain things to say to get people to like relax, you know. For example, I would go in front of the crowd before we start dancing and be like, okay, if your ears are clean and you feel good, say yeah, yeah. So it's like, you know, just like getting people to be like, okay, no stushness here. We're not dealing with that. So how in this moment I actually got into comedy, to be honest, I felt like I was running from it. because a lot of people have been telling me get into comedy, she's so funny, so I'm like, okay. But you know when it's like you're good at something naturally, but then when you're asked to perform it, then you're actually challenged. You're like, okay, am I actually good at this, or am I just natural in the moment kind of vibe? So what happened was I was actually doing I worked with this organization that helps homeless youth. So I was doing fundraising for them somewhere in Toronto. And this lady walked by. No, she didn't walk by. She just came directly up to us. And she was like, oh, and also before this, I went to New York for 5 days. And I actually did a few comedy sets out there. But it was a pretty empty crowd. But it was because I was kind of nervous. I'm like, I do so much poetry, so like people's expectation for me is like already like so high. So I'm just like, oh my god, how even though like in my heart I know it'll be good because I naturally just do it anyways. So I did a few gigs in New York. Then I came back here and I was like, okay, I really want to like get more into it, but I haven't actually like put myself out there. So this lady walks up to me and she just like, oh no, I know you're a fundraiser. I support you guys all the time. She just drops money in. She's like, thank you. Don't have to give me your spiel. So I'm like, wow, like Black Jesus is with me today. Like, you know, she just came. She just gave me vibe. I didn't say nothing to her. We just looked. We just connected. It was a vibe, you know? So then as she's walking away, she's like, oh, by the way, do you like comedy? And then my sister looks at me because my sister, she's very supportive. She's like, yeah, you know, my sister, she's looking to be a comedian. This is that. She does this. So then from there, we ended up talking for like almost an hour, like with the lady, and she was telling us that she's a comedian and she's having different opportunities, and like she hosts a show called The Kinda Late Show. Yeah, so she was like, how if I wanted to come on and host, and I was like, okay, like. I'm always down for like a new opportunity, and I really do like speaking. So I'm like, sure, I'll come and host. I went and hosted there, and then from there we were talking, and I was telling her like, yeah, like I've never technically been on a set in Toronto, but I'm definitely down for it, and I perform all the time. It's just like a different type of performance. So then from there, I got people DMing me saying, hey, you know, like I want you to get on this show, I want you to get on that show. And I was just like, wow, this is great. Like I didn't even actually do a set yet, and I have sets coming to me and being lined up. So yeah, then it brings me to meeting. It was Isn't She Funny that DM'd me? And then I ended up meeting her at an event like a few weeks later where I was doing poetry. So we were looking, she was like, whoa, like, hey, I know you all, this is great. So it's just like utter alignment that has really got me in this position. So I'm like, I've not went to, well, I'm not gonna lie. I do fear when I do stuff, but my fear doesn't hold me back. So I'm like, okay, this is just something else to start, and I know I'll be great.
Good, going with positive expectation, right? So give us the memories of your first comedy show. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so I'm in New York. Before I went, I like signed up for a bunch of different, like anything I could, like I'm looking at events, everything like that. But of course, I don't know New York. I didn't know that it's like so huge, like 5 different areas. I kind of thought everything was more like on a Toronto vibe. Anyways, long story short, the good comedy show that I signed up for that actually had like a decent like audience, I missed the time I was getting food. Sometimes it's your own belly that is against you. So I was getting food, so I actually missed the time, and it was like so far, and like I was driving in New York, so I had to become like a whole different persona because driving in New York is nothing like driving in Toronto. So then I ended up like just like going on my phone trying to find a last minute event. So the comedy place that we went to, it was pretty much like a hole in the wall. Like there was like 5 people in there, 4.5 of them were the actual comedians performing. So it's kind of like after each person, so bad. After each person performed, they kind of like left because they're like, you know, just doing their set and leaving. And then one guy on the mic, he was like, when he saw the next guy leave, he's like, oh, how dare you? I stayed for your crap set, and like you're not even gonna stay for mine. I was just like, wow. Oh. These people are, yeah. I'm like, this is ruthless. And so I started off with just saying one of my poems that are wasn't meant to be funny, but I guess the way that I perform it is for funny. But yes, me and the three people in the crowd were having some great laughs with it. I felt like I got comfortable just getting the experience and just being on a stage where I'm speaking of comedy. But I guess my biggest challenge was, especially as a poet, was being able to drop that paper.
Mm.
Because, with poetry, I can like hold my book and saying it out. With comedy, it's like you, the audience, and memory. So I feel like that's what I'm just the challenge that I'm working on. So I'm really excited to have more opportunities to push because my first comedy show was all I know is I was good.
Of course.
That's all I gotta say. No shade.
There you go. Now let me ask. So after that first show, did you say, you know what? I want to do more? Or some people do one stand up and like open mic and say, no, never again. Why did you keep on going?
Because people keep telling me that I'm funny, and in February I did a few different type of poetry nights, like more like on the erotic realm, which I never really did before. But doing those shows, people are like, you need to bring this poem to the Nubian night. Yes, like you need to go there. You need to say this poem, like, because it's very black. Sorry, I can't talk about what it's actually about because it's a clean show, and that was what my I felt challenged by as well. Just okay, now really like I have to look at comedy from a whole different realm because it's easy to talk dirty and do dirty comedy, but when you're actually trying to make clean jokes, so I'm very I'm excited for the challenge, and I think what I have so far is definitely gonna get some smiles on some people's faces, which is much needed right now.
Absolutely. How are you managing the current environment as a comedian?
I think that there's a big blessing in this, especially as somebody who is in like the entrepreneurial realm, because I feel like it's probably harder right now for somebody who's, and not knocking 9 to 5 people, we all need to do something, but they're kind of used to having that structured work all the time. So they're like, whoa, what am I doing? Whereas me as an entrepreneur, I'm used to having no work and waking up like, let me find it. Where is it? Like, who can pay me $10 for this? Like I would always say that my job title is who's hiring, because it's like, as long as it's legal work, let's figure out a cost, because I'm really just down to push. So I feel like that drive has me in a state of calmness right now, because even though there's so much crazy going on, I'm like, you know what? I've seen crazy before. I've seen challenges. I've seen difficulty. And I just think that reality is just reality is not reality, pretty much. Like I feel like everything is just like, it is what you see it as. So I try to see it I take it more as like a grain of salt type of approach, as opposed to putting all the heaviness of it on me, because I know how much heaviness can slow me down when trying to be progressive. So I just got to be very mindful. So it's kind of like that meme where the dog is like in the house and it's burning, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I've been here before. This is my temperature. This is my temperature. So it's just like,
all right. When did you know that comedy was going to be your thing, or part of what you do? Was there a moment or a show or performance that you did say, you know what, I'm good at this, let me keep on going at it?
Yes, I'm not gonna lie. It was when I did a poetry performance at it was this like competition called Women at Large. It was a modeling competition. I'm not really big on that. I just kind of was supporting a friend when I even entered, but there was one aspect where we had to do not poetry, but you had to do some sort of performance. And out of like all the girls, I was one of I think it was like only three or five people that got chosen to actually do their performance. So that was like my biggest crowd performing my poetry. And that poem particularly is like it's kind of like a feel good kind of poem. But the way that I performed it, the way that I had the audience, like I felt like I had them in my hand. Like at that moment, I was just like, I can't swear, but like yeah. Like I was just like, I wanted to throw the mic and be like, I didn't even go finish. I didn't go finish, y'all. Hold that. Literally. So that was like a huge moment where I was really like, wow, like I can really like I'm like, it was a whole huge loud crowd, like a lot of the people were guys because it's a women's competition. So it's like there was a lot of different people in there. And sometimes I feel like I'm like connecting with women really well, but are the guys hearing me? And so that response really made me feel like, you know what? I got to be on stage. I got to be speaking. I got to be, this is whether I want to admit it or not. And it's just like, it's when you're good at something, so you're shy about it. That's the kind of like thing that I was shaking off. But that's when I realized that, okay, I can really do something with this.
What's been the most impactful show you've done in your comedy journey so far? What was the one that you say, this is the best one I've done so far?
That is a good. The best comedy thing I've done. Well, I guess other than Women at Large, because I wasn't, again, not intending it to be comedy, I would say this Rise performance that I did, where, again, like I don't try to be funny, but I just come off as funny. That's the whole difference with it. But so it's actually, and I feel like that is like my power as well, because it's like I can be talking about something really deep, and then I just swing left and talk about something else. So it's like people get a chance to not be so like engulfed or feel like they're drowning in a certain situation. And that's why I feel like people push me towards the comedy, because they're like, hey, if you can make us laugh about something like this, like you really need to like tap in and do more. So I will say, to answer that question, it was the Black Mental Health Awareness Day at Rise, where I was that was my first official like gig from them, like booking. So I was so thankful. And just the way how I was able to talk about really like traumatic and like hard things like gun violence, and then by the end of it have people laughing and feeling good about themselves. So I feel like that's where I was really just like, okay, like my power is more than just to even make people laugh. It's make them see certain things in a different way that's going to help their mindset be more at ease. So I feel like it's a whole thing.
Okay, good, fantastic. What would you say? How important is audience vibe within your performance? How key is that?
Sorry. I laugh because the first part of my joke is pretty much like how like the audience needs to know themselves. Like if I have sucked, it's partially because of you as well. Because we're doing a thing here. We're relying on each other. So I'm the type to I just kind of bat up the audience. I'm like, listen, so y'all paid to come here to look stink. I know you didn't do that on purpose. I know you didn't do that on purpose. So I'm gonna give you another chance. So like I can be very playful with the audience, because like sometimes people just want to be like pushed out of their shell, or they just don't know how to act. But I think I'm just acknowledging and like just letting them know that, audience, you have a role to play as well. And really like being confrontational about it. Like I will stand up there and be like, I'll be like, clap. I can see you. You guys know I can see you, right? Like, so it's like things like
Fantastic. How did you find out about Sunday's event?
So for Sunday's event, it was but is she funny? She DM'd me. I can't remember her name right now. Please forgive me. No.
Nicole.
She's running the show. Her Instagram is
No, her name is Nicole or emoji. Yes, Bish.
Okay, yeah. If you said I wouldn't even know. I need to
No
do better
problem.
with names. But yeah, she actually DM'd me from that first talk show that I did with
Okay.
Veronica. She DM'd me and she was like, "Hey, you want to get on the show?" And I'm like, "Oh, a challenge? Sure, why
not? So, have you
Right?
had experience doing the online comedy stuff before? Oh wow!
No, not at all.
Are you looking? Are you
So
looking
the
forward
most
to it? Okay.
yes, yes, I'm down for a challenge. The most I've done online vibe is just like I do Zoom classes on Wednesdays, but I haven't done an actual comedy thing. But I'm like, if it gets really bad, I can just turn off my video. You know, so there's different options, and there's a way out that's actually easier than if I was on the actual stage where I couldn't just disappear.
I can just turn off my screen.
I'm
Okay.
gone.
So, who are some of your favorite comedians?
I have to say, some more. Nia Long's sister. She's a big influence to me, and also of course the legendary Dave Chappelle. The way how he can just bring your mind here and then end off here. He is just like comedy genius. Like his levels are just amazing. So those are my two top people. And I feel like with some more, she brings more like a class or like I feel like she like sets the level, and I'm pretty sure she's a Taurus as well. I'm a Taurus. I am. So I feel like I'm just very like intrigued by the way how she can like set the tone and then say what she has to say. And then I just love the genius and the skill of Dave Chappelle, where even in one of his last episodes, he told you the end of his joke at the beginning, and he's like, "Watch, you got." He literally said, "I'm so good at comedy. You guys don't even know that I already told you the punchline." By the end of it, when he hit the punchline, you had no idea. And like, I find I don't see as much people, and I'm not there yet either, but being able to like end a joke on a certain line from the beginning. So I think that type of like genius is just amazing and very inspiring.
Are you nervous at all about Sunday?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I feel like being nervous is a good thing. It's like it means that you care.
Exactly.
So it's like if I didn't feel nervous, I'd be like, okay, hello, do I care about this? Like, am I gonna put in energy? So I'm definitely a bit nervous, but I can say I'm definitely a bit nervous about everything and all the little like the performances and things. But again, I just see it as like,
where would your life be? Or what would your life be like if you didn't do comedy?
I feel like I'd be doing it anyways, but I wouldn't be getting paid for it. So like I feel like I wouldn't be seeing the value that I could bring to it in the aspect of actually getting paid. But I feel like crazy things like even like with COVID, things like this make me realize why not? Like why not just go for it? Why not just try the wildest thing or just quit your job, do something. Look, what is a job now, right? So it's like I just feel like being comedy, if I wasn't like directly working with comedy, I would have been drawn to it anyways because I'm so quick to flip the script of like a tragic event because I know how it is to be in tragedy and sadness, and I know how it is to not be. So I always try to work to understand both aspects of it. So even with this being said, like I never even like I've been in the back of my mind like, okay, I'm gonna go to this comedy show, I'm gonna go to this stand-up, I'm gonna get on stage. As much as I've been telling myself, I haven't been doing it, but the universe has been putting things in my way to make it happen regardless.
Okay, excellent. That's fantastic. When how has your comedy performance gotten better over the years? So if you compare the first time you went out to now, what's gotten better?
I'm more carefree. Because I feel like when I first started, I would be very like, okay, to the book, like really just making sure I'm like saying exactly what I said I was gonna say. But now, after doing more like C-Flava things where I'm just speaking very openly or like on the dime, like freestyling, I feel like it's got me more comfortable with and realizing that people like when I'm just freestyle, when I'm just doing whatever. So it's like when it's not scripted, people understand that free vibe and they connect with it, and that's what they really like to see. So I feel like I was very like tense and like afraid to really push before, but now I'm like, Romeo, oh Romeo, where are like I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, that's good. What has performing comedy done for you personally?
Oh my gosh. It gives me a better understanding of life, and it's validating. Just in the sense like, okay, this may sound a little bad, but hey, other people can laugh about it too. Okay. So I'm not messed up here. People want to laugh and people want to see the light and even like a dark situation. So I feel like that's one huge thing that it's done.
Do you have a dream comedy gig that you'd love to do?
Yes, I would love to have a Netflix special, but I feel like when it does happen, because it's gonna happen,
Okay.
I'm a big manifester. When it happens, it's going to be like a series of things. So like the comedy will be one aspect of it, but it will be like on a huge grand scale type of level where it's even hitting Netflix. Because I'll see certain comedians now where it's like you kind of like the ones who are doing like Netflix and you kind of see like the holes in their joke. And one thing I'm just reminding myself is that the real difference between like me and somewhere where I want to be, or like if someone's in a position that I want to be, the only real difference is they're putting more time towards the craft than I am. So it's like, it's not to say that they're better. People don't get on certain stages or certain places because they're better, but you have to be real and say, you know what, maybe they're putting towards more time than I am. And I can definitely say that I've been putting more time towards other things than comedy, but with shows like this and interviews like this, it's just really helping me get to my actual calling, which is making people laugh, because there's so much to be down about. And I'm just like, yeah, so I feel like definitely Netflix would be like my and I'm very positive that it's very possible. Very possible.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that. Every time I hear or see you now, I'm going to say, how's the Netflix thing looking?
I like that.
That's fun. Other than you mentioned Dave Chappelle, are there any other comedians other than the two that you mentioned that you watch? Do you spend time watching other comedians?
Yes, I do. There's this guy, he's Asian. He has a Netflix special right now, where it's called like something Death to American, something like that, like in a playful way. But I look up to him. Well, I've been researching him a lot more lately. Just because I like hearing different cultures talk about their comedy. Because I find if you can connect your culture's comedy to the global comedy to get people to actually understand and laugh, that's your skill right there. And that's the job of a comedian. How can I actually like connect this and make my personal stories understandable on a global level? So him, and to be honest, I'm gonna say I love Kevin Hart, but I feel like he's more like mainstream now, so it's not as we'll never get to see like him as authentic as he was in his like first two Netflix specials, where he just like where you're just like, whoa. And Russell Peters, like his first Netflix special was just like amazing. Like I've watched it many times. So yeah, and I feel like another draw to Russell Peters is just the changing cultures.
Yeah.
Especially now that with this whole internet global community, we're all so connected. We see what other cultures are laughing about. So it's like when you can actually like bring that into your own story, that's really powerful. So I like to see different comedians that are like building on more of a story as opposed to like the yelling comedian or the one that has to fall down to get the joke. You know what I'm saying?
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm going to say we're going to start wrapping down the conversation. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing with you, hearing some of your story. You're going to be on live for the first time, online comedy via Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing. How much prep do you take to do, like for Sunday? How much prep time are you going to do?
Well, I have started, but I know myself to be the work under pressure type of person. That's when the diamonds come out. So sometimes if it's like a week before, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna write? I might get too lost in the thought of what am I gonna write. Whereas like if it's probably like a few hours before or the night before, that's not really like, all right, this is where like I gotta keep pushing, and then I just get more on the fly type of vibe with it. So it's like I'm not like sticking to the paper. I'm more like vibing, if that makes sense.
Well, that's fantastic. Shakkoi, how can people hear and find out more about you?
So you can follow my Instagram at Need Some Koi. You can remember it by thinking everybody needs some koi in their life. So you can get some through Instagram.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. As I said before, she'll be one of the comedians on the roster on Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The event is April Fool's Bun and Cheese edition, online comedy edition. Be there because not only are they going to be there, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out or especially get tickets for the event, go to Eventbrite and just put in bun and cheese or bun cheese, and you'll get all the information. Now, FYI, there are 2 levels of tickets. There's the Just Jokes level, which is a limited amount of free tickets. But once those free tickets are gone, there's a Give a Hoot where you give a donation if you can. And I just want to, Shakkoi, I just want you to spend a few moments of the importance of donating support to the comedians, especially at this time, because comedians aren't getting any benefits from governments or anything. So just want to, if you can spend a moment to just say how important it is for yourself and the other comedians to put in a donation for them.
Yeah, it's extremely important. Like, think of it like this. As what it is, there's no EI in the comedy community. So it's like for us to be able to stay in a positive mindset to even write the jokes that keep you happy, keep you being able to get out of the reality of right now. The donations are so important. Like, we don't want to be chastised by the government in a few months because we applied for a fund that maybe we weren't supposed to. So to help us stay good with the government, give some donations. It's so important right now because there's not much shows, and especially for someone like me too, who has been living off of shows and things, to have them all taken away, it's very detrimental. I definitely feel for people out there who there's even comedians who are homeless right now that still have to keep their gigs going. Keep their gigs going. So
all right. Well, thank you for sharing that perspective, and I hope everyone gets it and understands and contributes. And even if you can't make it, support them whatever way you can. Just touch base with them online, and I'm sure they'll communicate with you. Also want to shout out the sponsors for this Sunday's event. We have Bees Tees, SOS Custom Clothing, and Kija the Bakeologist. So those people are supporting the cause, and we're very happy and thankful, and they're up for their support. And we appreciate it and don't take it for granted. I am Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning The Dr. Vibe Show. If you want to check me out, just go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com. DRVIBESHOW.com. All things Dr. Vibe are there. As I said, 2018 award winner in the innovation category given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, host of monthly conversations with fathers that are co-sponsored by Dad Central and Dove Men Care, home of Epic Conversations, host of Epic Conversations. This is how I close out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. But if we don't see you, please stay safe, stay connected, because there are people out there that we're not reaching. We have to make sure we reach out to them also. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and see you on Sunday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.